Catherine Parr, 1512, September 5, 1548, was the sixth and final wife of King Henry VIII of England. Her life was extraordinary, as she not only survived the notoriously capricious king, but also left a lasting impact on English politics and religion. Born into a well-connected family, she went on to marry 4 times, becoming queen consort, a stepmother to future monarchs, and an influential figure in the Protestant Reformation. Her intellect, diplomacy, and religious devotion made her a unique and formidable figure in Tudor history. Catherine Parr was born in 1512, likely in Kendal Castle, Westmoreland, to Sir Thomas Parr and Maud Green. Her father was a prominent courtier, serving under both King Henry VII and Henry VIII, and her mother was a close confidant of Queen Catherine of Aragon, Henry VIII's first wife. The Parr family was of noble birth, descending from King Edward III, which ensured young Catherine's access to the royal court. Catherine's early life was shaped by a strong education. Like many noble women of her time, she was tutored in the traditional disciplines of Latin, French, Italian, and the classical arts. She developed a lifelong love of learning and books, which would later influence her role as queen and her religious writings. First marriages. Catherine married 4 times, which was unusual even in Tudor times. Her first marriage, to Sir Edward Berg, occurred in 1529, when Catherine was about 17 years old. Berg was a relatively obscure nobleman, and little is known about their marriage, except that it ended with his death in 1533. At this point, Catherine was still a relatively unknown figure at court. Her second marriage, to John Neville, 3rd Baron Latimer, in 1534, was more prestigious. Latimer was significantly older than Catherine and had 2 children from a previous marriage. The union placed her firmly in the ranks of the nobility. Catherine served as the Lady of the Manor in Snape, Yorkshire, and became an influential figure in her local community. However, Latimer's involvement in the Pilgrimage of Grace, a Catholic uprising against Henry VIII's break from the Church of Rome, complicated their lives. Although Latimer avoided execution, his involvement left him in a precarious political position. Latimer died in 1543, leaving Catherine a wealthy widow. Her time as Lady Latimer had also enhanced her skills in estate management, negotiation, and dealing with political unrest, skills that would serve her well as queen. Marriage to Henry VIII. After Latimer's death, Catherine moved to the court of Henry VIII, where she caught the king's eye. Despite being courted by Sir Thomas Seymour, the brother of Henry's third wife, Jane Seymour, Catherine found herself the object of Henry's attention. Seymour was sent abroad, and Catherine reluctantly accepted Henry's marriage proposal in 1543. At age 31, she became Henry's 6th and final wife, marrying him on July 12, 1543. Catherine's marriage to Henry was different from his previous marriages. By this point, Henry was an aging and ill monarch, suffering from obesity and a leg wound that had become ulcerated. He was no longer the charismatic figure he had been earlier in his reign. Catherine, however, was known for her gentle demeanor and nursing skills, which she used to care for the ailing king. Unlike her predecessors, Catherine's relationship with Henry was less romantic and more intellectual and political. She shared a deep interest in the Protestant Reformation and was deeply committed to religious reform, a stance that put her at odds with conservative factions at court. However, she managed to navigate the treacherous waters of court politics with skill and grace. Queen and stepmother. As queen, Catherine Parr played a significant role in the lives of Henry's 3 children, Mary, Elizabeth, and Edward. She was particularly close to Elizabeth, who would later become Queen Elizabeth I, and had a profound influence on her stepdaughter's education and religious beliefs. Catherine ensured that all 3 royal children received a humanist education, which was essential in shaping the future monarch's reigns. Catherine's role as stepmother was particularly important because she helped reconcile Henry with his daughters, Mary and Elizabeth, both of whom had been declared illegitimate after their mothers' marriages were annulled. Catherine's diplomatic skills were crucial in restoring Mary and Elizabeth to the line of succession, a significant achievement that shaped the future of the English monarchy. Religious influence. Catherine was a devout Protestant, and her influence in religious matters was significant. She advocated for the further reform of the Church of England, aligning herself with prominent Protestant thinkers and reformers. She also took a direct role in the religious education of the court, often engaging in theological debates and discussions. In 1544, Catherine published a book, Psalms or Prayers, making her the first Queen of England to publish under her own name. She later published Prayers or Meditations in 1545, which became one of the most popular devotional books of the time. Catherine's writings reflect her deep personal faith and commitment to Protestantism, emphasizing the importance of private devotion and scriptural study. However, her religious views almost led to her downfall. In 1546, conservative factions at court, led by Bishop Stephen Gardiner, accused Catherine of heresy. Henry, initially swayed by the accusations, signed an arrest warrant for his queen. Catherine, aware of the threat, skillfully placated the king by presenting her religious discussions as mere intellectual exercises designed to distract him from his ailments. Henry, reportedly amused by her explanation, forgave her, and the warrant was never executed. Widowhood and fourth marriage. Catherine Parr's marriage to Henry VIII lasted until his death in January 1547. She outlived the king and played a significant role in ensuring the peaceful transition of power to his son, Edward VI. As Dowager Queen, she was entitled to a large income and continued to exert influence at court. Shortly after Henry's death, Catherine married Thomas Seymour, her previous suitor and the uncle of Edward VI. This fourth marriage, however, was far from happy. Seymour was ambitious and sought to increase his power at court. His flirtations with the young Elizabeth, who was living in Catherine's household, created scandal, and his reckless behavior eventually led to his downfall. Catherine's final marriage was marked by personal tragedy. In August 1548, she gave birth to her only child, a daughter named Mary, but shortly after, she contracted puerperal fever. On September 5, 1548, Catherine Parr died at Sudeley Castle, Gloucestershire, at the age of 36. She was buried in the chapel at Sudeley, where her tomb remains today. Legacy. Catherine Parr's legacy is often overshadowed by her more famous predecessors, such as Anne Boleyn and Jane Seymour. However, she was a remarkable figure in her own right. She was the first Queen of England to publish her own writings, and her works contributed to the spread of Protestantism in England. As stepmother to 3 future monarchs, she played a critical role in shaping the English monarchy and its religious landscape. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.